Alright, we're just done watching Brian get beat up by Jake.
Ooh, my nipples are so sore.
even when Jake goes to see a good movie, he still wants to kill us.
I don't get that. It's like he's angry about a lot of things or something.
Oh shit!
Ah,
Buford!
Hey, it's my first time in the back seat and reviewing anything.
it's Plaid Buford.
I'm not wearing
Versus like, oh my god, you guys look how that guy from Freakout's in your backseat.
fucking Buford. Not really. The other Buford. No.
Alright, we're out of Abraham Lincoln Vampire Hunter. Abraham Lincoln versus Zombies already did this.
Yeah, this pretty much seemed like a ripoff to me. I mean,
Yes. Versus Zombies came out first. That clearly means it was made first.
it's not like they rushed that out or anything.
No, they don't do that.
It's like it was filmed over the course of a weekend.
I'm so tired. We should talk about how Springfield looks in this movie.
Oh, yeah. Obviously, we're in Springfield, and
Yeah.
we've probably grown up with Lincoln shoved down our throats because we've all had to take, field trips to Lincoln's
That was
home
just
and
Coach
Lincoln's
Lincoln.
tomb
He
and-
was really inappropriate.
But I don't know about you guys, but I still really, really like Lincoln. I'm still impressed by him. I like the story of him, and he is kind of our mythical president. And this movie really takes it that there's myth to it. There's fantasy involved with this, and
Are you gonna be like the Cowboys and Aliens cynics that were like, what? This was a great Western until the aliens turned up.
Yeah, this was a great
Way to
biopic
ruin
until
history.
anything happened.
that's not what happened to Abraham Lincoln. Obviously, if you don't know going into this thing that this is not historically accurate, they're going to take some liberties.
Wait. None of that happened?
Some of it did, actually.
Okay, get on the break.
Mary
shirt.
Todd, yeah, laundry day.
I was given this shirt by a gay man at a Starbucks. Thank you.
That's how I got my Madonna shirt, so I believe him. So at one point in the movie, actually in quite a bit of the movie, it takes place in Springfield, and it's got this big...
Springfield is massive.
Springfield was apparently fucking huge in the 1800s. I'm surprised there weren't fucking mountains in the background and shit. It looks like what you said. It looks like
yeah, it looked like fucking Gangs of New York. I mean, I honestly expected, like, when he walked in and first met Speed, like, I expected fucking Bill the Butcher to be walking by in the background.
yeah, there was enough top hats for
Whoopsie
it.
daisies.
Shit, run, Lincoln, run.
I didn't know Daniel Day was in this Lincoln movie.
Was it him?
So this big shot, and then like Lincoln is like working in this shop, and I'm looking at it like, oh, it's apparently he used to work at Dell's popcorn shop. So this big like steam and like what looks like it might as well be surrounded by like 100 power plants.
Yeah, it was fucking like a Bowery district. I mean, it was a bustling metropolis that
Yes,
it is
right.
not even today.
No, it wasn't. Actually, Jacksonville, where I live, that's a pretty small town, and that was pretty big then, too. I mean, that was bigger than Chicago when it was founded in early 1800s. It's nowhere near, like, how they portrayed Springfield, even.
I mean, I got a kick out of that. I really did, especially the part where he's writing to Henry and saying, like, I'm living in Springfield now. It's not the best place to live, or something like that. And everyone in the audience is, what?
There were a lot of little chuckles.
Oh, yeah.
A lot of the hometown stuff, yeah.
It's hard for a working man to find a decent job and a day's wage, and everybody's like, yeah.
And then when it cuts to New Orleans, I lean over to Brian. I'm like, oh, I'm just gonna say Chatham.
Yeah.
Just big river boats and everything. Like, that's a reference that no one's gonna get unless you live in Springfield. But
Local humor.
Or Chatham.
so you've read the book. Have
I
both of you
have.
read the book?
I have not.
Okay.
You have.
I
So
have.
I know Sarah has, but I never got around to it.
And I usually really, really like movies. Not that I did not like this one. I liked it. I really did, actually. Where the screenplay is written by the author of the book. There have
Yeah.
been a few that have done that. I'm amazed how Seth Grahame-Smith changed so many things.
What all was different?
There is no
Lincoln was a woman.
there is no central villain in the book. There's the Adam character played by Rufus Sewell in this movie.
He was great.
Yeah, he was, and that was cool.
I
And
wish he would have picked an accent though.
I like it when that happens.
right, and it kind of worked in this sense that there's this ongoing thing where it's kind of a feud. It's not just against all vampires. There's the one that really stands out that's really kind of plaguing him his whole life and kind of that he has to kind of get his vendetta against. That was cool. Of course, they cut out lots of things from the book because the movie can't be, 20 hours.
Sure it can.
There's a lot of cool stuff from the book about his childhood that I really like. I mean, that's
Yeah.
really him kind of stalking these vampires and seeing all that stuff. And the way he meets Henry, the kind of his mentor character, is quite a bit different too.
That Dominic Cooper was fucking great in
Oh,
this.
yeah.
He was actually my
Yeah.
favorite one in the movie.
Yeah.
Was Dominic Cooper. I thought it was okay. I thought it was all right. Like I can't say I was 100% really invested in a lot that was going on in it, but it was entertaining enough. Like I also watched it pretty tired, honestly. There was a lot of cool shit. Jimmy Simpson, McPoyle.
Yeah.
Yeah.
He's got a really big part in this. I like that a lot. I liked. Of course, I'm sitting there like comparing to Abraham Lincoln versus Zombies, which
I haven't
which
seen
I
that.
liked. That's pretty fun. There was a lot of criticism. This movie isn't getting that great of reviews, and I was on Rotten Tomatoes, and I saw that a general consensus of a lot of people that didn't like it was that they didn't like that it was played serious. They didn't like that it wasn't funny. Which, if that's what you want, I mean, you have two now. You've got that's played serious. You've got Abe Lincoln versus Zombies, which is pretty funny, and that movie works. But I like that this was taken seriously. I like that. The Cowboys and Aliens got a lot of criticism like that too. I liked that about that movie. I really did like how this movie was dark and played straight in like the performances and stuff like that.
Yeah,
like everyone's
like-
genuine in
Like
it.
there were a few scenes that are kind of more lighthearted,
There are.
but yeah, never anything that's like slapstick. And it's the same thing. Like the director that did this, I'm not even going to attempt his name at fucking all. The guy who did Wanted and
Night Watch,
Night
Day
Watch, Day Watch, Black Lightning. It's another film like in his same sort of kind of like hyper reality, sort of like, everything
Yeah.
is just that much cooler.
Yeah, so like essentially humans have same powers as vampires in this. They can fucking leap across trains, going across burning bridges and shit like that.
Chop a tree down with a single swing.
What about the foot race on the horses' backs?
Yeah.
About horse
Oh
to
yeah,
horse.
chucking a horse
Oh,
at him
yeah.
and stuff like that. Like
Well,
really,
the vampire did that.
I've never
Actually,
really
it
seen
was-
anyone get hit by a horse, like
Yeah.
actually a horse being thrown at someone. I've never seen that before.
Yeah.
So that was cool.
oh yeah. So like really, the difference between humans and vampires in this is that like, the vampires have teeth and they don't age. Oh, and they disappear like ninjas.
And they have
Yeah.
black blood compared to the red
Yeah.
blood, I guess, yeah.
But how it was played straight, I thought actually lent a lot, and I mean I don't mean this as an insult. It actually makes some of the camp in the movie work a lot too.
Yeah.
Because it is Lincoln fighting vampires with an axe, and in that everyone's pretty much playing straight, it gives it a camp. It gives it a certain kind of camp appeal that it wouldn't have had if it was played for laughs. Not saying that it couldn't have still been funny, but it just would have been different. I honestly liked when Lincoln got older in this. When he was much older in this movie. I actually liked Bill Oberst's performance a lot better in Abraham Lincoln versus Zombies because he played that part. He really felt like Lincoln in that movie, in Abe Lincoln versus Zombies. Like, you could take him and put him in like a Lincoln biopic, and the performance would roughly be about the same. Maybe not when he says "emancipate this," but the performance would be roughly kind of about the same. Like, he was really genuine and like really worked as that. Whereas this, it looked like a young guy in makeup.
Well, yeah, I mean,
There was never a moment where I was.
It wasn't like a fucking Prometheus style, like Wayland type makeup. Like, I mean, he looks like he's meant to look older, but he doesn't look like the fucking Six Flags guy.
Well, yeah.
Wow. Thank God.
But I honestly thought like what was the dude's name? Benjamin Walker. Like, I thought he did a really good job.
I liked him better as younger Lincoln than I liked him as older Lincoln. Because as older Lincoln, there was really never a moment where I was really like, oh my God, this is totally fucking Lincoln.
But yeah, I mean, he held interest really well. I thought the scenes he did, he acted very well.
Mm-hmm.
The action parts were pretty good. Like, he did all that pretty well. Except they showed in the trailer. He just showed off this.
Sorry, I can't see the thing I can't see the screen.
He just will show off Brittany. But no, in the trailers, you see a lot of him like flipping around the axe, and I think in a way they really kind of overused that, because like every moment when he's not actively doing something, whether it's signing legislature or chopping people in fucking half.
One of the two.
That's all he does. He's just constantly like twirling that around, and like in the trailers it looks cool. And like the first time, like he like as he's learning to use the thing, it's cool. And he breaks out in a fight, it's cool. But then it's like he's just standing around doing that. They're like riding on a boat. He's standing on top of it doing it.
Mm-hmm.
It's just he's constantly twirling it around, and by the end of it, it's just like it has no like it doesn't feel like a special thing anymore. It's just, oh, and he's still doing that.
Yeah. Those vampires waited a lot of years to strike back at him. Waited 50 fucking years so he could become president.
They didn't recognize him with the beard.
With all that makeup on.
Right, yeah.
I liked it with the Dominic Cooper at the end of it too. Like, let me make you immortal. Let me make you immortal so we could keep fighting. It's like, wait, but I didn't think a vampire could kill another vampire. You can't fucking do that.
Yeah.
Well, I guess he's got the whole Union Army now. So they got their silver. I like that.
Yeah.
That was fun. The train scene. The 3D was great in this thing.
Oh shit, yes.
Uh-huh.
Yeah, that was the fight scenes came off spectacular.
Oh my God.
It was really good use of it. Especially like some of the scenes, like there's a big fight scene in a plantation house. Mm-hmm. And it does a lot of, again, sort of similar to like how a lot of the scenes were in Wanted. A lot of like fast and then slow motion, fast, slow, fast, slow. And just everything was done really, really well. One thing I really have to commend him on with using a lot of that stuff, since a lot of it is visual effects, like CG visual effects, is a lot of times if it's a scene where it's going to be almost nothing but CGI, it's in a setting where there's always like something like kind of obscuring your view of things just enough. Like when they're having the big fight on top of the train, there's fog all over the place, which is then replaced by smoke and fire when the track gets on fire.
Yeah.
The scene, which if it was shot a different way, like when they're fighting, running across the back of wild horses running through this prairie, it would have looked ridiculous. But there's always it's always positioned where like the sun is glaring right at you, and there's dust flying up from all the horses running, so it's really obscured, so it does help hide a lot of the CG. I thought like it did well, like when it couldn't have actual people there, it did well to kind of compensate, so it didn't just look like rubbery people just jumping around.
And also, it's shot in such a hyper way that works.
Yes.
That it looks like that it's really over the top CG, honestly, because it's it shoots itself so over the top and far fetched.
Concept is so over the top. And
yeah,
far-fetched.
so I thought that worked.
Yeah.
And the on the slow motion shots too, there is some great stuff that they do with the 3D here, whether a knife coming at the camera and it cuts a spark in half. That was good. And also, I never thought I would see a 3D shot with a slave child getting whipped and the whip is coming right at the camera.
Yes.
Like, wow, it's like I'm really being whipped.
Yeah, well,
It was a great shot. Like that whip came right at the fucking camera in slow motion.
This is just test footage for next year, I'm sure, when they remake Roots in 3D.
Well, we got Great Gatsby coming in 3D.
Yeah.
The 3D and that looks really good.
Yeah, oh my, yeah, that movie looks fucking spectacular. And it's got that same rockin' turn of the century soundtrack that Gangster Squad has.
Oh yeah, that's another thing. Will they stop putting hip hop music in trailers for shit that's taking place 100 years ago? Really?
stop using hip hop even before rock and roll was invented.
It's like, you're not going to use Cole Porter in the trailer for Hustle and Flow. Like, why does... So yeah, like, the trailer for which I do think Great Gatsby looks really good, but it's playing, like, Kanye West or something at the beginning of it, and the lady's like, the year is 1922. I lean over to Buford, I'm like, yeah, you can tell because of all the hip-hop. Like, it's so distracting.
It fits the mood, though. It doesn't fit the setting or the time period or anything, but, like, it's a good, for a trailer, it's a good trailer song. Like, it's good for
I
the
do
trailer.
think the movie looks good.
Yeah.
The 3D looks outstanding in The Great Gatsby.
Because I remember, like, that was the thing, like, when I first heard, I'm like, oh, they're doing Gatsby. Okay, well, I still haven't read the books. I don't fucking know.
Another Buford's read except us.
Yeah. And I heard that they were going to make it in 3D. I'm like, I don't know much about Gatsby, but if it's based off of the great American novel, how the fuck is 3D gonna... Like, it just seemed very superfluous, but then actually seeing, like, the trailer in 3D, it's like, okay, you know what? Fuck it, I'll watch it.
Yeah.
Well, once I saw
the
Boz...
decadence, the partying going
Yeah.
on in the 20s. I mean, that it kind of it adds so many layers to it. It's
Fuck
kinda
that
cool,
3D
yeah.
fireworks.
Yeah.
Yeah.
just
Once I saw Boz Luhrmann's name was attached to it, that's what I figured, like, it would probably... I was like, you know what? The 3D in this is probably going to be really outstanding.
He is
The Great
so
Gatsby
visual,
from
whether it gives you a
director
headache or
Michael
not.
Bay.
I mean, he's got a cool visual style. Yeah, right.
Yeah, which really works for that kind of 3D.
Totally. Yeah.
So yeah, with this one, like, I can't with Abraham Lincoln Vampire Hunter, I can't necessarily say I'm really gonna remember much about this movie in the coming weeks. I sort of sat there and, like, the images were really good. I wasn't bored. I can't say I really cared that much. For a lot of the movie, I was kind of like, this really could be anybody. It just happens to be Lincoln. Except when he becomes president, earlier scenes. But, like, when he becomes president, it made perfect sense that Lincoln was Lincoln. But anyway, I thought it was okay. I might watch it again sometime because I am kind of tired. But I didn't think it was that bad of a movie. If you've seen most other stuff that's out there right now, it'll kill an hour and 40 minutes. That's what I thought of it.
I would actually say go to it. I mean, if you honestly, if you have any interest, any just inkling to go see it, I mean, it is a fun sit. You won't really be bored.
You won't be bored.
I mean,
Dominic Cooper's fucking great in this thing.
Dominic Cooper is really good. Like this guy Benjamin Walker. I don't know that I've seen. Well, I've probably seen something else that he's in, but I don't fucking remember.
What'd you say he was in?
anything.
He was in Flags of Iwo Jima.
Oh, Flags of Our Fathers.
Or no, Flags of Our Fathers. He was one of the guys in there.
He was in Flags of Full Metal Jacket.
Sorry. It was the same movie as Clint Eastwood did both sides of the story. Sorry. No, he was in that, and apparently he was in Kinsey. I looked that up. I don't know who he was in that. He probably some guy interviewing about sex.
Yeah, I've seen Kinsey, but I can't remember.
Right, yeah. I don't.
Yeah, he was when the younger Lincoln scenes. You know, he was tall, gangly, awkward, and stuff like that.
Lincoln was cut up.
Yeah,
Obviously getting typecast as a president, though, too. He was also on Broadway playing Andrew Jackson in a play called Bloody Bloody Andrew Jackson.
I gotta see this.
Right.
That sounds really good. I want to see the asylum version too. Violent Andrew Jackson. That's okay. He
They'll have,
fights
to
werewolves.
change, they'll have to change. It'll be like violent Lyndon Johnson. I want this Kennedy dead.
Drunk Lyndon Johnson.
Yeah, in the Daisy ad, it's actually her who sets off the nuclear bomb.
Wow. but yeah. So I'd say go watch it. It's fun. If you liked Wanted, it's Wanted circa 1860. So that's cool. Basically, the only thing I didn't like in it was two minor gripes for me, and that's it. And they're both like right at the end. One's the actual ending, and one's the like 2 seconds before the ending. Them mentioning the whole like it's like I could make you immortal. No, that's cool and all. What's that, Mary? All right, yeah, I gotta go to this play. Yeah. Oh, wink.
Everyone in the theater got really sad.
Yeah, we're like, oh,
no!
It's like, did they?
Lincoln gets shot.
So that was. I mean, that seemed unnecessary. We know that Lincoln dies. Okay, we fucking get that. He's shot in the head. No one was gonna think like, and then a vampire came and bit the back of his head off, and then John Wilkes Booth jumped out.
That's actually one of my problems with it.
Did that happen?
Well, in the book, John Wilkes Booth is a vampire, and it gives a lot of cool backstory about him, how he was turned, and
he's a really shitty vampire. Then if he broke his leg jumping like 10 feet,
they do that. They tied in versus zombies. They tied in the assassination kind of like that too, because he gets bit by a zombie right before he goes to the theater.
If they were gonna do that, like they should have went fucking like Inglourious Bastards. Like he fucking like whips around, kills John Wilkes Booth. Like fuck this shit.
Yeah.
History's off the chain now. But no, so that scene kind of bugged me, and then just like the actual very end of it, where like it fast forwards to now, and it's inside a bar to show you that Henry's still around, and he's recruiting some other asshole at a bar, who I'm assuming he will also turn into a president.
I was thinking like it would cut to like the 80s or something. It'd be like Obama in the bar or something like that. Obama's gonna go. That'd be awesome.
Well, I honestly thought it was gonna cut to Obama because like the last scene is like Henry standing like outside, like right outside the White House, and then it morphs to present day and like Air Force, or not Air Force One, whatever the helicopter's name is, Helicopter One is dropping down onto the lawn, and like I could like okay, and then Obama is gonna get out holding like a fucking machete or something. Like what are we gonna see here? No, then it just cuts to a bar down the street.
It would be what was that movie? The Tripper, the one with the Reagan mask with the slasher movie. He's going around axing people, leaving jelly beans behind everywhere. Reagan kills vampires, leaves jelly beans behind.
Well, that's you.
Oh man, they set it up for a sequel. I gotta see this movie. Well, there was that review on Rotten Tomatoes with that one critic who essentially ripped off that line from American Dad, where Lincoln was assassinated in the theater twice.
Yes, well.
Just pat yourself on the back, buddy.
Okay, I'm gonna suggest something, and since you guys have not read the book, you didn't pick up on this, and it could be they changed it, but in the book, Lincoln's still alive, or he's a vampire. So that was Lincoln next to Henry.
Was it?
Well, in the book. Again,
in the book.
They don't make it obvious in this because they never show the face. They would see the back. But the book ends with Henry saying some people are more interesting alive than dead. That even though Lincoln was against vampires the whole time, it's kind of a weird ending to the book because it kind of goes against the whole point of it.
Yeah.
But it's, he wanted to stick with him and kind of at least use him to help at least use him to recruit.
Yeah.
Him. And it ends actually, the two of them are there in the crowd listening to Martin Luther King give his speech at the Lincoln Memorial.
I would have liked that.
That's
I like that ending.
That would have worked really fucking well.
Yeah.
Why did they do that?
I was reading about, speaking of endings that were changed, going back to last week when we were talking about Rock of Ages, I was reading the, basically a rundown of the play. That's something that ended radically different in the movie. You know how the movie ends, like, they're writing music for Stacey Jacks now and they're on stage together?
Yeah.
Okay, the play ends with, the couple like realize they're never going to be famous, and then I think they get married and have a family, and Stacey Jacks has to leave the country because of statutory rape charges.
nice.
They totally should have done that.
Well, that's
They all sing "Don't Stop Believing" and everyone's happy.
that's a twist there. I don't quite know what I feel about that one.
Here's the one thing that it's I understand why they got rid of it from the book.
Yeah.
It was one of my favorite things in the book that I wish they had done. Lincoln, of course, is chasing down and on these missions to find all these vampires and kill them. At one point, he is in New Orleans, though, in the book.
Yeah.
And he's in this really seedy part of town, and there's this really pale guy that he sure is a vampire, and he's chasing this guy. He's about ready to kill this guy. Gladly, he stops. It's not a vampire. It's just Edgar Allan Poe. He runs into that, and they become kind of friends. And
They could have got John Cusack back.
no, but it was like, oh, and this guy's like really interested in dark subject matter, and gothic. So it's kind of
Well, they did that in the Asylum one where he runs into 9-year-old Teddy Roosevelt. What was your final thoughts on the movie?
I liked it. I was entertained. I know it's, completely historically inaccurate, but there are parts that I wish they had, at least alluded, they make a big deal about the one son that dies.
Yeah.
He had 3 other sons.
I was about to say, where the hell were all the other?
Yeah, I was thinking that too.
Where's
Like,
Robert? Where's Eddie? Where's Tad? I want to see. It's like he was not just one kid that died. Yes, Willie died, and that was sad. But there were more to it, and a lot of I wish, and I know you can't get in there. It's kind of Lincoln for Dummies. That unless you're from Springfield and know a lot of this stuff, you wouldn't pick up on all that stuff unless you're really into the history of Lincoln. Even though he is probably the most known and famous president for people even outside of Springfield, Illinois.
The movie also felt kind of short to me too. Like it went by at almost at too quick of a speed a little bit. This thing is an hour and 45 minutes long or something like that.
Because like you were saying in the book, how there's a lot of stuff there with him like tracking and going through his upbringing.
He fails a lot in the book, and
I think it would have been good to show more of that, because in this, like, he comes across like almost completely inflappable. Like he trains with Henry for a minute, like, so like a day and a half or 4 years. I honestly
about as long as it took in the Green Lantern movie.
Here, put on the ring. You're Earth's champion. But yeah, so you don't really get a sense of that. And then any scrape up he's in, even if it does go south on him, he immediately turns it around. Like there's never really a moment where I thought to myself, he might not make it this time. Like he
I thought it at the end when he went to the theater.
Fuck you. But no, like towards the end, like when he's actually like old Lincoln. Like there is like it shows him like try to like do the axe twirly thing, and he fucking drops it on the ground. He's like, get out. It's like, remember, I'm an old man now. Like when that happened, like, okay, well maybe not. And then he's kicking ass better than he ever did. I'm like, shit, fuck. I can't wait to get old. Apparently, you turn awesome.
That's a big change from the book too.
He wasn't leaping the train cars like that in the book.
That's not. I mean, he really knows that. You know what? Let's let the armies fight the battles now.
Yeah,
he's too old for that stuff. Man.
Too old for this shit. So that's about all I got. You guys got any other thoughts? Anything else?
No, I'm pretty spent.
Yeah,
right on.
I'm definitely looking forward to more from this Benjamin Walker though guy. I
think he did
someone
really well
on the rise. I think he'd be in a lot of cool stuff.
Yeah, he was really really likable in this movie. You gonna come back with us again?
I hope so. Yeah.
Excellent. Yeah. I promise I won't send you to Jake movies.
You make me no such promises.
Oh yeah, So next week, a couple of us will be at TED, and Brian and Dave. Hang on. We'll be at Medea.
And it'll be my first Tyler Perry movie that's not Star Trek.
Oh, yeah. You might like it. Be your first one. You know, maybe it's really good.
There's a whole series of them. I won't know what's going on.
Yeah, it's gonna be
What?
just as good as Ernest Rides Again.
I'm expecting it to be as good as Meet the Clumps. That's what I'm expecting. Seeing that trailer, I'm like, oh,
Well, it should be pretty good then.
Tyler Perry as Eddie Murphy. As Eddie Murphy. As Eddie Murphy.
The fatties fart too.
Yeah. I want to see that movie. All right, we'll see you guys next week.